don't put your eggs in one basket when it comes to mentors, right? You need to have a handful. I think what there's a lot of training out there right now in the industry. It's called your board of directors, right? Who is your board of directors right now? So when Matt gets talked about, when Joe gets talked about in a meeting about their year or their performance or is up for a promotion or a new role, who's your board of directors that's talking well about you?
Matt Woolley Podcast.
Today, my beloved guest is my friend and business associate, Joe Vizcarra. Can I claim that? Can I be?
You can claim both. You can claim both. Yes, I think we've known each other for a few years now. So
Yes.
absolutely.
Joe, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Hey, the privilege is mine, good sir. So let's get into it. Who is Joe Vizcarra? I've got the list here. You are a husband and father.
Yes, sir.
I've met your wife and children. Wonderful people.
I think you have, yes.
I have. Why would you discredit me?
It's been a while.
You're a graduate of Arizona State University.
Sun Devils, let's go.
All right. Is it what you started out at Erviza?
I think it was called. Yeah, it's a little shop out in advertising agency out in Phoenix.
That's awesome. You started small.
Started very, very small, family-owned agency. I think awesome. I was employee number 6 or 7. I shared a desk with the owner's mom, who was the travel agent / secretary. That's how small this agency was.
That's awesome.
But it was a great experience, yeah.
Well, we'll get into that momentarily. Yeah. There's still more on this resume. I see, is it Moto plus Morris?
Yes.
Account executive. CV&A advertising. Account manager. Unilever. Integrated marketing manager. Pfizer Consumer Healthcare. Shopper marketing manager. Campbell Soup Company, which I didn't realize you were a part of until I put this together. Shopper marketing, e-commerce, and omnichannel. Professional mentor for the NBA Hispanic Leadership Council. You're a volunteer coach for Sporting Arkansas, and currently you're the group vice president of the Coca-Cola Company customer marketing.
That's right. I think there's one missing in there.
Throw it in there.
Because it's important to me.
Okay.
It was, I worked for Young and Rubicam ad agency out of New York City. So, I don't know how that one got missed. If you pulled that from my LinkedIn, I maybe need to go take a look at it.
That's what
operator error.
You either have a LinkedIn error, or it could have been my oversight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a long.
We'll split the blame on that. I'll split the blame on that.
Okay, so my follow-up was, did I miss anything? And apparently I missed something.
I think
this is one. But this is it.
One thing. Yes, that's it. That was it. There's a lot of roles and places I've moved and lived, but you got it. You got it there.
Okay, so where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Tempe, Arizona. So just outside of Phoenix.
Awesome. What's Tempe, Arizona like? I've met so many people over the past few years. Well,
hot. Yeah,
not a lot of moisture in there.
Yeah, no, not at all. No. It was great to grow up. My family's from mostly the Arizona area, Southern Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, LA a little bit. So all the family's there. I still have a lot of family there. Parents are still there.
Nice.
Brother's a firefighter, still in Tempe, Arizona, right?
All those fires in Arizona.
There's a lot of them. keeps them very busy. Yeah, but it's a great place to grow up. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so obviously I see now the transition to Arizona State University.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so how was Joe in college?
Oh, I mean, you're talking. Is there above an A+? Is that a grade that exists?
A++.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but it was. I enjoyed it. I mean, again, it literally was about 2 miles from my parents' house where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah, very
so
very
did you
close.
Live at home?
I lived at home for about a half a year, my freshman year. Then I moved out and never went back. But my dad went there. My mom worked there. I got scholarships for there, so there's no. I wanted to go somewhere else, but there's no. You're going here, right? So that was my college decision.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, it seems like, you gave a shout out to their beloved team, so it sounds like the roots ran deep there.
Roots ran deep. I played soccer there. My sister did cheer there. My dad wrestled there. So we were very integrated into the university, for sure.
What about your mom and dad? So what's out of that? What kind of household you grew up in? What they do?
Just Stan. My dad worked for Motorola for 35 years. Wow. Engineer, mechanical engineer. The guy's what do you call it? A genius, idiot savant. I mean, he's done blueprints for houses. He does woodworking. He can build anything. His mind, I wish I had a tenth of the ingenuity that he has when it comes to that. I do something small around the house, like, replace my dishwasher, and I'll call him like, Dad, yeah. Like, guess what I did today? Yeah.
Check this out. I don't want to brag, but I replaced that outlet cover.
Yeah. I was like, I just rewired the entire house. Yeah, so,
I just created an invention that would save humankind 20% of the energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So they're still out there. Gonna go see them in a few weeks, actually.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so let's just talk about, you've got quite the journey here, so we're going to have to, blast through it because there's a lot of things to talk about.
I'll summarize some of the early years if you need.
Go for it. Just do it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So again, I started at a small ad agency right out of college. Mm-hmm. It was great. My first role was on experiential marketing, right? So you're getting sponsors, running events, putting up tents, giving out samples, hiring staff, all the cut your teeth type of things that you see at big festivals and parades and all that kind of stuff. So loved it. It was great. At 22, 23 years old, getting out there and working a lot of weekends.
But you had the energy for it.
Had the energy for it then. But I got to travel a lot. At that age, I was all over from Texas to New York to Chicago to Miami, just kind of places I'd never really been. So I had the opportunity to kind of see what the world was about in marketing and advertising, and then left there, went to work for an agency in LA, Mata, and got some bigger clients and kind of just continued to grow my experience in advertising.
So do you have a heart, and you obviously have an understanding for smaller shops? Do you use any of that knowledge? Do you have a love for, number one, do you still have a love for that type of...
Absolutely. I mean, working...
I was asking.
Yeah, it wasn't a pointed question, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I didn't realize this. I mean, obviously... Design Sons had the privilege working with Coca-Cola on several projects over the years. It's been great. But that's great to have have that understanding that you have a love for that sort of thing, but you also have an understanding. So some conversations that we've had in the past, now putting two and two together.
Yeah, now you're figuring it out. Now you're figuring it out. A lot of small agencies growing up, like mom and pops, and moved to. When I was in LA, moved to New Jersey, working for an old boss. She asked me to come out to New York. She knew that one of my professional goals, to go work for a big ad agency in New York City. She hired me right out of college. I stayed friends with her. Her and her husband had a small boutique agency. He was this guy that owned, and he still does, supermarkets and a design agency and a catering company. He's had his hands in 100 different things. And he just wanted someone to come help marketing all his businesses. And, I went and worked for them for about a year and a half. And then from there went over to Y&R and worked in Manhattan and kind of hit my dream job at 26 years old, right? Which was big agency out of New York City. Yeah. Careful what you ask for when you think about things like that. But it was great experiences all the way.
So let's talk about the mom and pop and transitioning to the larger agency.
Sure.
What would you say would be your skill sets that you acquired working for the mom and pops that transition to the big guy?
You're doing everything. Like I said, you just have to learn. I mean, this is many years ago, right? Fax still existed, if you remember what that was.
Is that right?
Yeah, fax is. We all had pagers back then, right? And Blackberries were coming around, so. Getting business done wasn't as easy, right? But you're also in charge of everything, right? Client management.
I've talked about that before. If you actually take a step back, seeing some of the work that we're a part of, and you can relate being in the end of that era, really.
Yeah.
You know, but some of the stuff we do on a daily basis, I tell people all the time, which these younger guys don't understand.
Yeah,
but
these young kids.
These kids today. We can do stuff in a day that took a couple of weeks to do. And it's wild.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I don't know. We're getting off into, you know.
Yeah, we're starting to reminisce into the old days.
But we're going down the rabbit hole, too. So, do you think, so does that acceleration bring benefit? Joe.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Guilty. We're both guilty.
Is that you calling
You're
me?
important, got you. Is that, you know, there's obviously a value in that acceleration, but seeing the old way of doing things and seeing a little bit of the new way of doing things, is there any type of loss of connectivity or emotion?
No, I would say that my first job as an account executive, or one of my first roles managing a bigger client in an advertising capacity, I was doing everything from writing scripts and then having the copywriter proof it and you know, clean it up and tighten it up, to literally calling radio stations and negotiating radio buys. No, so I did a little bit of everything in the space. I would not say I did everything very well. Right. And seeing what some of, you know, my media buyers do today, you know, agencies out of New York, part of Y&R, actually WPP, how they're buying media, I realized, like, what was I doing back then? Like, I had no idea what I was doing from media buying. But you learned how to negotiate. You learned how to have the conversations. And probably most importantly, you learned how to develop relationships. Yeah. Whether you're negotiating event sponsorships or media negotiations and media buys, or calling a design, you know, agency like yourselves to say, hey, I got something. I know it's usually 2 weeks. I need it tomorrow. And here, you know, here's what I can do for you. We've never done that, but I did it back then. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess what you're saying is you had a well-rounded enough, you know, education in the industry that probably fair to say probably one of the benefits to you landing your dream job is having that.
I think it did help. That you can kind of check a lot of boxes.
So what was next level? So let's go next level in this game. Okay. So, all right, you're past mom and pop. You've gone to next level.
Yes.
So what did that look and feel like at the time? And let's put yourself in that position. You said you're 26 and you're moving to New York.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, New York is on the pinnacle.
Yeah,
right?
You want to get to advertising. I mean, that's this is before Mad Men came out, but this is Mad Men, right? In my mind,
this is the world of Ogilvy, as I like to say.
Yeah, Ogilvy.
Did you ever study him by the chance?
I've read a couple books. Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
another Edward Bernays too. That's another one to read. I love that stuff absolutely. So, and not because of Mad Men. I've only seen a few episodes of Mad Men. I think it's cool, but the real stories are cooler if you can find them. But anyways, okay, so. Tell me, what was young Joe Vizcarra like?
I think going from small boutique agencies and smaller
was it intimidating?
Shops. It was. I mean, everything from the interview process wasn't just one guy saying, "Hey, you know, what can you do for us?" It was panel discussions and panel interviews and filling out corporate paperwork. It is a first corporate job, right? Being part of a broader agency and a global multinational agency. And then just the processes that they have, where I would, you know, say, well, I need to get this done. Let me maybe write a brief for my creative team and see what they can do. I mean, I went from night and day, right? I had a pretty big learning curve, understanding here's how you understand the traffic process, getting everything from point A to point Z. Clients, you know, bigger clients, more important clients with a lot bigger dollars. You know, I think when I went to Y&R, I was working with Kraft and Mazda. Deno, and like some big companies, right? Which I was working on a lot smaller things and regional things before that. So, just understanding to live within these well set processes was a learning curve for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to master it?
I don't know if I've ever mastered it. That's not my forte.
Wise answer.
And I don't know if you can, because once you get it done, then the new process comes up, right?
Right. What's the favorite back in those days? What was the one that landed in your lap and you realized, like, wow, this is this is legit. What was
as far as a project or
project company? I mean, everybody always has.
Yeah.
At least I did, in all of our pinnacles of growth. Because Designstein started with nothing. Like we were truly helping mom and pop shops. As a mom and pop shop, we've developed a little bit further down, and obviously working with bigger brands. It's a blessing. But and praise God for that. But there's always in my mind these notable instances where it's like you take a step back and you're like, wait a minute, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
What was Joe's big deal?
It would have to be getting to work on the craft business back then, and which is, and everyone knew who craft was, right? And it was a big opportunity, and I think the best part of that was getting to work. Back then they had Post cereals and cheeses and mac and cheese and you name it. They've split up a lot of their business now. But I never knew what I was going to work on from one day, 1 week to the next, and which brand, or was it a portfolio brand project, or was it just one brand? So I really enjoyed that, and kind of see like these big companies have so much to offer, so much opportunity. That's why I started getting interested in going to client side, actually, and say, there's people that do marketing on the client side that I'm working with. Like, I would love to understand their job a little bit.
Did you ever feel restrained when I say that? Because going from that mom and pop and smaller agency atmosphere, because you're wearing so many hats, you're used to micromanaging a lot of things.
Yes.
Was that a challenge, overcoming the micromanaging piece and staying in your lane?
No, I don't think at the agencies I really experienced that.
Okay.
I think we always had really good staff, and folks knew what they're doing, and quality folks you could really count on.
I mean by that, just for clarity, and not speaking negatively of it, but it's like the involvement process, because I've been involved in projects personally. I'm like, well, I think we should blah blah, and then they're like, no, hold on, buddy, that's not a bad idea, but this is not really. Stay in your lane. Did you ever experience any of that?
Oh yeah, I came up with that. The ideas that I thought were like, this is gonna be groundbreaking, and everyone's gonna rush to the stores to go buy this because of the idea, and get in front of 5 people and 4 say that's not gonna work.
Lame,
right? Yeah, it's not gonna work. Either there's a reason it's not gonna work, or that's just dumb, right? But again, if you can't let that stop you from being creative, you got to continue. And there's things that even in my career now that I push that level to make sure that I don't want to close the door on any creativity on anyone's thinking, myself included. Try to give free rein to folks, that I work with now, to say like, what's your idea on this? How would you do this? How would you approach this? Yeah, because I've been there. I've been on the other side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say you're and when I say this, I know you're a humble guy. But would you say you are? But would you say that like you're a visionary, like you see vision of things?
I don't know if I see vision. Yeah, I don't know if I would put myself into that. I think I know folks that I would consider visionaries. That's not me. I think I maybe see opportunities, right? And I would see
the potential of things,
the potential, and like, could we and can we? I think is where I like to play. Like, could we ever do this? Can we think about this? Would this make sense? And let someone push back and say no at some point, and they're like, why not? And the worst answer you ever get is, well, we've never done it. Like, or best answer, depending on how you want to take that. Like, okay, well, if that's all you got, then I can manage that. Like, just because we've never done it, let's go think of a different way, and how can we get it done? Right. So I like to play in that space. Visionary, no, but opportunistic, yes.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very humbling.
Yeah.
John. Okay, let's transition. All right, so what made you? So I think I pulled you off track here. So you're working for the big agency, but then you said you wanted to be on the client side of things. Was that the transition?
I got to sit a lot with some of the clients.
Well,
for a little bit.
So let's hold the horses real quick.
Okay.
So you've achieved. How long were you there?
In the world of advertising, maybe about 8 or 9 years.
So you were there at this large agency for that long?
No, this agency about 4.
About 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So put me in your perspective here. So you're there for 4 years. This was your dream job. Big city, New York. So now you're, what, 30 years old?
Well, it was my dream job when I got into it. And like everything else, you get, I think someone said recently, I feel bad not quoting this person. It's a mountain climbing, right? You get to the peak and you get up there because that's what you think is the top. And you look and like, oh, there's another peak, and then you get to that one, like, oh, there's still more. I couldn't see it from down there. So you continue to grow.
Yeah.
Right? You continue to grow and see bigger opportunities.
So is that why you transitioned to Unilever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So how'd that opportunity come about?
One of my mentors at the agency, said that, hey, there's an open role. I think you would be really, really good to go. It was one of the clients that we worked for as well. I did not work on them, so I wasn't familiar. And they said, there's this role. This is what they're looking for. I think you'd be perfect. I already submitted your name, just so you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then I had to do the formal process and went, and that was even more intimidating because now you're talking about the client side.
So you had a mentor do something that he saw the future for you, and that literally changed your trajectory.
Yeah,
and that meant taking him away from some of the mentorship.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great mentor story.
Yeah. And it wasn't someone that I leaned into every single day. I would probably connect with them once in a while. And it wasn't my boss. It wasn't my manager. He was another
Somebody
leader
sounds
in
like
the
he believes
agency.
in you.
Yeah. And really, really good guy, high energy, and is always looking. He was a visionary. You talk about visionaries, I would say I would put him in that camp. And I always looked up to him and things that he did. And he would always, kind of make sure I was involved and included. And when this came up, he just said, hey, I put your name in already. Go check this out. Call this guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
it was
awesome.
great.
How many times has that happened?
Not very often. Not since. Yeah, I'll tell you that.
That's amazing. What a great story. That must have been, I must have felt really great. You know what I mean?
It was, yeah.
And the fact that you landed it too.
Yeah.
It seems like he was right.
Yeah. Now, getting into corporate, the client side corporate, that's a whole other learning. That was a whole other learning process.
So, I mean, so what Unilever team were you working for did you transition to?
It was Hispanic, U.S. Hispanic marketing.
Okay.
I did
just located.
It was in New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay, so you weren't too far away then.
No.
It wasn't a hard move.
Yeah, I was already,
Right.
I didn't move. I just, moved offices basically.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I didn't have to commute into Manhattan every day, so it was a little easier actually.
Yeah,
so it worked.
nice.
It worked out.
Sweet.
Yeah. It was good. It was a new team they were building.
Mm-hmm.
I knew one person on that team from past life, but they had about 12 people, and just trying to understand like how do we go and reach this expanding demographic of the U.S. with all the brands that Unilever had, right? So they're building the plane literally, and the leader of that team was fantastic. He gave us a lot of leeway to go and figure out things. He didn't dictate and mandate. He just said, here's what we need to go do. Come to me in 2 months and tell me where you're at and where the help's needed.
Nice.
Yeah, and
a lot of rope.
It's a lot of rope. You got to be careful with that much rope, right? But yeah, he was great. Worked with him for about 4 years. He moved roles and all that. But yeah, it was good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you transition from Unilever to Pfizer?
I was just looking for, I'd been doing food and grocery and grocery store business basically my entire career. And I just need to do, try different category, new channels, going from food and grocery to OTC, going from grocery store to drugstore. For me, it's just like, let me continue to add on to my resume a little bit. And it seemed like a good opportunity. I went and gave that a whirl, and
then you went from there to soup.
Then I went from there to solid soup. A lot of soup. Yeah, a lot of soup. Soup, crackers, some goldfish were thrown in there, as you know. Yeah. So
yummy. Good times.
Yeah.
What's Joe's favorite Campbell's soup?
Favorite Campbell's soup at the time. We had a storage room in the office, so you can go grab lunch if you didn't have it.
Yeah, that's a little perk. There.
Yeah, one of the perks.
Liquid lunch.
Yeah, a lot of heavy soup. I like some of the chunky soup that they had, right? Because they did some NFL partnerships and all that at the time. I think they're still doing some stuff.
And didn't Coca-Cola do some type of campaign with them at one point?
I think recently we've done some stuff. Yeah. We've partnered with Goldfish and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're
But what's your favorite soup other than the chunky? Any staples? I'll tell you mine. We'll start off.
Go. It sounds like you want to say something.
I do.
So go ahead.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Campbell's soup. Please give me a call. My favorite is just the ultimate. Is the broccoli and cheddar.
Broccoli and cheddar.
Yeah, man.
Oh, like the cream.
Yeah,
of
the
broccoli
cream.
and cheddar.
Yeah. That's the best. And then,
Really?
and then I do.
I've never heard anyone say that before.
Well, I don't know why. I've always liked it,
Yeah.
man. And then, there's some of the staples like, the potato and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I will tell you, one I use actually frequently. Now, this is a plug for several brands.
Yeah.
But I want to add.
You're gonna have a logo.
I want
pop up,
everybody to know. No, this isn't an official endorsement, but if you want to drop some off at the house, that's fine.
Yeah. You'll talk it up a bit.
Yeah. But the cream of mushroom soup, here is why. So you can use that as an additive product for so many great things, but the one I'll plug today is everybody goes to when they want cheese dip. They go for easy cheese dip. It's always Velveeta and a can or two of Rotel. Right?
Yep.
If you want to spice up your cheese dip, and believe me, I'm about 20 pounds heavier.
Is this
than
a cooking show now? Is that where we're going?
I'm just trying to help you.
Yeah, cooking blogger.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brought to you by but so take your block of Velveeta, take a can of Rotel, whatever spice you like, and add a can of cream of mushroom soup direct and stir that stuff in.
You're saying game changing.
It game changer. It fluffs that cheese dip up, and I'm telling you, I've had so many people come and say, "Man, what did you do to this cheese dip?" And I tell them it's a family secret.
Yeah. The Campbell's family?
Yeah. All right.
Good to know. I'll try that.
Try it out. I'm telling you it works.
Tailgate party I have.
Do it.
Absolutely.
It makes, I'm telling you, it
world
makes
of
a difference.
difference.
Yes.
Yeah, world of difference.
Let's talk about some of because you talked about mentorship, obviously.
Yeah.
You had a lot of mentors along the way. You just told us a great story, which is probably the most ultimate mentor story I've heard so far.
Someone to help get you a job.
Without you asking. They think you're so perfect for us. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and sign up.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a vouching there. There's a few callers. That's great. How have mentors affected Joe's life? Tell me about that.
I think it's a critical part of any industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I only know one industry. For me, it's kind of consumer packaged goods and marketing, advertising. But no, it's 100% needed. I'll never claim I'm the best selector of mentors, right? I know why I select certain mentors. When I started at Coca-Cola, I had two folks. I said, these are the people. I love what they do. I love how they represent, their selves and themselves in leadership roles. These are the people. Hey, and I actually asked, will you be my mentor? They're not my boss. Can you be my mentor? Would you? And they said yes. Within a year, they both left the company for various personal reasons or another jobs. Yeah. Like, man, I'm not picking the right horses here, right? But I think that's to me is that for young people, everyone say looking. Don't put your eggs in one basket when it comes to mentors, right? You need to have a handful. I think there's a lot of training out there right now in the industry. It's called your board of directors, right? Who is your board of directors right now? So when Matt gets talked about, when Joe gets talked about in their meeting about their year or their performance or is up for a promotion or a new role, who's your board of directors that's talking well about you? If it's one person out of that 8, you're probably not doing the best job. Do you have 4 there to kind of sway the vote? So yeah, I know Joe. He worked on this project for me. Oh no, he always steps up when I ask him to do something. He had nothing to do with my team, but he's always willing to give me some inputs or to reach out. I take that. I learned that maybe 10 years ago. Again, not claiming I'm the best at it, but it's something that I try to live and instill with folks that I work with as well. Is you got to have multiple mentors and your board of directors, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you ever? And this is a big part of this show that I like to bring out because I can't encourage it enough, because I'm actually I hope that the people that do listen, my age or younger, even older than me, put down their pride and ask for some mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know so many people that don't. And as a young guy, I will tell you, I didn't see it then. I was just like, honestly, I just, everybody's young and stupid. They don't see, hindsight's 20/20, as they say, they don't see the people that were mentoring them at the time. At least I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I see it now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had his number.
Yeah.
Because I would call him, and there's some, honestly, on a, not getting emotional on it, but there's truth. It hits me in the heart because they're gone from this world.
Yeah.
And I would give anything to give a call and be like, dude, I am so sorry. I appreciate, I see what you were doing there. And I was just so oblivious to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's folks now that I didn't realize they were mentoring me. Mm-hmm. Years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I was learning from them. Mm-hmm. Again, it wasn't a formalized process, and I still say, I remember how she did it. Yeah. And I'm going to try to do it that way. Yeah. And be a people leader that way, or project leader that way, or communicator that way. And I didn't realize there were...
Or just simple kindness.
Yeah, mentor me at the time.
There's times I'll look back and think, you little idiot. you little idiot. Yeah. This is what they were trying to do. Yeah. And that's why that is great. I love what you said about having your own board of directors, because it's so it's important.
Yeah, not my term. Not going to coin it. It's in the industry training out there. But I love it. I think it's a great.
That's the first time I've ever heard it put that way. Because solid companies have a solid board of directors, and individuals should as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't. Better late than never. But I wish I would have tapped into these things at a much younger age. Mm-hmm. But I was just honestly so hell-bent on showing the world what I could do that I looked past sometimes the value that others were trying to, provide me.
And there's folks out there that they want to do that, right? They want to help you land a new job. And that just makes them feel good. Yeah. Whether they have another angle on it.
On. Yeah. Most of the ones I talk to, the guys that I'm blessed with now, there's so many great people that have made some really great career moves and done some really pivotal things for retail and other industries. And I just say to myself, it's hard to talk when you're around them because there's just so much wisdom pouring out of it. I mean, what they'll tell you though is that they had somebody like that doing that to them. It's kind of like it's a wonderful thing in my mind if you're doing things the right way, and that's in anything, not just in mentorship, but you're always paying it forward. You're leaving it better than you left it, kind of thing. Sure. And thank God for people like that and people doing that and continuing that. And I think it's crucial that if you're poured into, you don't need to store up the well. You need to, help some other people drink.
Yeah.
And so
I like that. Yeah.
That's huge. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of your mentoring. It says right here, as we talked about earlier, you're the professional mentor for the Northwest Arkansas Hispanic Leadership Council. What does that look like? Yeah,
it's a local organization with young kids. I didn't do it this year, just a little busy with family and everything else, and a lot going on. But I did it for 3 years. Local organization, college-age students, whether they're NWAC or University of Arkansas, they're just trying to understand kind of how to navigate as they get into the professional world, right? As they get into graduation. So was able to partner up and you submit your name, what you do, and this organization partners you with someone that's hopefully a closer match into your industry or background.
Have you found that to be rewarding?
I do when I was able to really give my all. I think a couple of years, 1 year, I was with someone that we just didn't match, different industries, they're chemical engineering, and I'm doing, goofy marketing stuff over here. Everything I talked about, he was like, I don't know what you're saying. But it is, but it's what you put in it, right? It's like everything else in life. You're going to get out of it what you put in it. I enjoyed it. I think, 1 year I had a mentor and she wanted to get into design. I think maybe connected with you at one point, right?
I remember.
So we're trying to find her some opportunities, and again, it's just being a mentor and trying to help out a little bit, and the organization's really good. I'll go back and say, listen, I met with this person 8 times, in the last 8 months. I feel like I'm not doing anything. they'll say, trust us, you're helping out, right?
Yeah.
From anything, just, I had a mentor, I took her with me to an industry event, and I just asked her, and I said, you know what, do you have a LinkedIn? She goes, no, I'm just in college, I don't have that. And I said, doesn't matter. Get yourself a LinkedIn.
Yes.
Put anything on that, right? Yes. She worked at her parents' restaurant and
just
part-time. Yeah. And like, what do you do? Like, do you manage the budgets? Do you, work with the staff? Like, I'll help you write it. Put all that in there. 10 minutes later, we're meeting someone that, works for one of the big agencies locally. And I introduced her, and the first the words out of that person's mouth was, hello. Find me on LinkedIn. Send me your LinkedIn information. I mean, not same meeting, same day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I turned to her. I said, "This is why you need to get this."
Light bulb moment.
Old man had some ideas here, right?
I'm telling you, kids,
yes.
get a LinkedIn.
But no, it was a great organization. Unfortunately, I was a little too busy in life to do it this year. But I'll probably get back into it next year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. That's going to be rewarding. So, let's talk about Coca-Cola for a moment.
Okay, here we go.
How did we? So you're a Coke dealer, essentially.
I deal in all types of beverages, delicious beverages for everyone. Yes, sir.
What's your? Let's start off.
I'm okay with my favorite. Yeah, it's a question we get all the time.
Well, what's your favorite beverage?
My favorite Coke it's vitamin water. I love vitamin water.
Oh yeah, vitamin water is great.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a good one. Yeah.
I'll drink that more than anything else.
What flavor?
Oh, I mixed it around. Yeah, I like
it up a little bit.
Mix it up a little bit. I'm not the kind of person to do the same drink every day at 3 o'clock. Yeah, I got to mix it up. I like they have a mango flavored.
Mango's good.
That's probably one of my favorites. Not carried a lot of places locally.
I've had it. My staple, if I'm going to drink vitamin water, is the orange. I don't know what you call it, but the orange is just delicious. Oh, and dude, you put it in the freezer for a little bit and get those ice crystals. Forget about it. Forget about it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what. And then I like Coke Zero from standard Coca-Cola, profile. Nice. I love a good vanilla Coke where you can find it in a freestyle machine or something like that. Yeah, so that is good.
That's legit.
That is good. A few places will carry it, but not too many.
Very nice.
Yeah, outside of the freestyle machine.
Are y'all still doing the Coca-Cola Jack Daniels mixer thing?
That's still out there. Okay. We don't do it. That's managed by it's managed by the alcohol company, and they kind of license the brand and do all that. But
I was just curious.
Yeah, I've tasted that once or twice.
You guys have had your hands in a lot of cool innovations lately. The Coca-Cola Creations idea was really cool. So I have another friend named Joe. And he happens to work for Ozarks Bottling.
Okay.
And every now and then, when y'all come up with a creation, he's able to nab me a couple so I can
bring a case.
Get into now. Yeah. Marshmallow was good. Some people didn't like marshmallow, but I thought the marshmallow was good. Yeah. And I love the white can. It was a little deceiving though, because you're thinking because it's marshmallow.
It wasn't marshmallow.
It wasn't more marshmallow flavor.
No.
But now. Do y'all? I'm trying to remember. Sometimes I know information
ahead of time.
Yes.
You're on an NDA. Yes.
Okay. Is there any? Let me ask you this: is there any new innovations that just come out that we talk about?
A couple of months ago, about a month and a half ago, we launched a collaboration with Oreo. If you had that one, the Coke and Oreo.
I haven't had a chance to tell.
Yeah, no, it did great. People really seemed to like it. So there's both a Coke that had Oreo flavor to it and an Oreo that had Coca-Cola flavor to it. So we partnered with Mondelez and did that partnership.
I know both. That's awesome.
Yeah. So some people love the cookies, some people love the beverage. So.
Well, I've said to myself, I can't tell how many times I've said to myself in my recliner, I'm like, I'm drinking a Coke and I'm eating some Oreos. I'm like, it would just be great.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier. A lot easier.
I'm tired of this multitasking.
Just merge them together. Yeah.
I'm so sick of this.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Well, we're always looking for the right iconic partnerships.
No, that's
right.
Huge.
We partnered with Disney Marvel this past year from a packaging and had a lot of the
that was fun.
Marvel characters all over it. Yeah, so we've done that. obviously we're big partners of a lot of college football. So you go some places, you'll see college football logos if it's a partner.
Everybody was glad to see you guys back at the U of A.
Back at the U of A, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, I mean it's a big thing.
It is
Big thing.
Yeah. Got a lot of kudos on that one, and we continue to switch over schools across the country and have a lot of the big schools and
nice
that partner with us and serve our products and students and faculty and staff and people that go to those schools seem to love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and Joe Storley, shout out to my best friend Joe Storley. He's the guy that works for Ozarks Bottling, and he has a saying. I'm not saying he coined it, but it's the one that he always says to me. He said, "There's nothing more American than a cold Coca-Cola," and I'm like, when you think about it, as far as like. I guess you call it, I don't know if this is the right terminology, a legacy beverage.
If you ever get a chance, go to Atlanta and go to the World of Coke. It's a museum that is there.
What can people find at the World of Coke?
It's a pretty cool building. I mean, they have videos, they have nostalgic advertising and billboards, and how we partnered with the World's Fair in 1932 and the World Cup when it first launched, and then you'll have a room that's nothing but Americana nostalgia. Yeah. Right? And how Coke was involved, everything from the first fountain drinks, and it's a really cool experience.
I don't know, and maybe I'm just naive or haven't seen it, but I don't know of any other brand that people actually collect Coca-Cola items too. I've been in houses, so the first time I realized that this was a thing. Now, obviously, there's always these houses that it's hard, especially for it was kind of an older generation thing, for whatever reason. I see people our age do it, but just not as much. But they'd have a couple of knickknacks, like Coca-Cola, the truck, or you know what I mean, or a bottle or that kind of thing. But the first time I was like, this is a whole thing. Like, it was a friend of mine, and at the time I was maybe like 21 and he was like 33 or whatever, and we had gotten through playing a video game or something. He was like, oh yeah, let me go grab this thing, and he's like, come here and help me. And I go back there, and it is a room. Dude, it is a room, and every inch is Coca-Cola branded, red, like items. I had no idea.
The old vending machines.
Oh, dude, the whole thing.
The lights, the bar lights. And
everything. And I was like, this is crazy. It was really cool, though, but that's when it really hit me that Coca-Cola is so embedded into American culture. It's just, I mean, you realize it, but then you don't, and until you really see something.
Yeah, I know. There's stories that again I learn them every time I go to the museum or do stuff with our archives. Like Coca-Cola sent one bottle. I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to paraphrase. We sent bottles for every GI over to Europe during World War II, so every GI could have have a Coca-Cola, a cold Coca-Cola. Yeah,
that's legit.
No one asked them to do it at the time. No one said, "Hey, we're going to pay you." Like Coca-Cola just did it.
Nice thing to do.
They just did it.
Taking care of the people
to help give people a little bit of memory of home and what you're fighting for and what you're doing. Right. So I think that's a really good story.
Huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I know I have several family members, that praise God for their dedication to the country and things that they've done. Experienced different war times.
Sure.
They don't get a lot of treats.
Yeah.
Especially, when they're, quote, in the shit,
Yeah.
But stories like that.
A bit of home.
Well, stories like that send a message, and they remember them. They remember these things, these nice acts of kindness, and that's huge. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, like Hershey's did it in 10 bars over there and all that. So there's a few companies.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, how did you get into Coca-Cola? So what made you say, Coca-Cola is the next
soup
thing.
is great, but what's next? Yeah. What am I selling next? No, I got a call from a recruiter that I knew, and I was already living here in Arkansas, and I just knew you were having contact with her as far as networking, right?
Okay. We need to take a step back before we get into that. Okay, so you went from, where were you at Pfizer, real quick?
Where did I live?
Where were you at? Yeah.
I was living in New Jersey, but I was calling on a retailer up in Rhode Island. So I was basically living between
Rhode Island. All right.
Rhode Island and New Jersey. Yes.
All right. So you went from that to when you came to Campbell's, based in.
Yes, I joined Campbell's and moved here in one job.
What
They said, "Yeah, here's the job. Move down there."
What year?
It was about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that transition?
To Arkansas from outside of New York City to Arkansas. It was fine. I mean, it's I grew up in Phoenix, and we were very similar, right? You have strip malls and then cows, right? It's kind of what you find here.
So the airport didn't scare you off at all?
Airport, I visited quite a bit when I was in other companies, so I was familiar. I'd come out here a number of times.
I bring that up because that's the funniest thing. If you ever meet somebody that travels here for the first time, there's stories of landing in X and A. Before that was Drake Field, I believe, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
I can't remember. Back in the day, but you always hear the stories of like where have I landed? Because they see like hay bales.
It scares me more now. If you've been out there recently, that airport it's been under construction like 2 years.
Oh yeah, no, it's going places.
It's they need to move a little faster, if you ask me. But it's going to look nice. I think it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
I think so.
All right, so. You moved to Northwest Arkansas. No shell shock there and then.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Kids were very, very young at the time, so we didn't really have to pull them out of school. I mean, they're really little. Mm-hmm. But no, not again. Yeah, and again, coming from East Coast and commuting into Manhattan or up to Rhode Island for 15 years or 14 years, how long I lived up there, I was just done with that.
Yeah,
And when
welcome change.
Yeah, when Campbell said, Arkansas, I think I was packed before they said,
oh, awesome.
They got the whole word out of their mouth.
That's a great place to raise kids, too.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's one of those professional markets that was in my head where I would be willing to, for the right job, willing to move to, because I know it's part of the industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to what we talked about, you were tired of soup. You'd had enough of the chunky soup.
I still love soup. I would eat soup every meal probably if I could. I just had soup for lunch actually.
Awesome. What kind of soup do you have?
It wasn't Campbell's. It was some ramen, but it was
ramen's good.
Yeah.
I'll turn my nose up at ramen.
Yeah.
Now, was it for our viewers listening and watching here?
This is not what people want to hear. This is not.
People relate to ramen, Mister. Was it the cheap?
Right?
Was it the cheap ramen?
No.
It was upscale
my kids
ramen.
are already upscaled
Bougie
ramen. Yeah, they go with the bougie. So I found something,
nice package,
and then we doctor it up, and you put things in it, and
now they have these whole packages. Ramen's become such a thing.
Oh yeah,
that you can really go to town with it, but. I grew up on because I came here.
It's not the same ramen.
You mean I can get like 3,000 meals for $5?
Yeah, a box.
Yeah,
a box.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't tired of soup. You just needed a change.
Just needed, thirsty. Got thirsty.
Got thirsty.
It's got a little thirsty after all the soup and crackers. Yeah.
All right. So you moved to Coca-Cola.
Moved to Coke 6 years ago. Last week, actually.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yeah. So they threw me a big party.
Did they really?
No one even knew. I don't think it's not a big milestone. Yeah. So
hey Joe, left a 6-pack on your desk.
Yeah,
6 years, big deal.
Vanilla Coke. 6-pack of wine. I would have taken it. I would have been happy with that.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So congratulations on the 6 years. So what has been the Coca-Cola experience in 6 years?
It's been great. I mean, I thought Unilever was a big company, right? Mm-hmm. Working for them, global multinational organization. Coke just blows it out of the water in my mind. And Unilever may be a bigger dollar, I don't know, but just the massiveness of Coca-Cola. Especially, you being Atlanta, U.S. based, and we kind of have our hands in a lot of different, college universities and Disney theme parks and
so many markets,
and so many. It's just everywhere, right? And you don't really realize it till you get into the organization. I think like 60% of fast food restaurants, right? It's and total restaurants is a Coca-Cola venue. So you start realizing that. It's just such a huge organization and big company to work for, and a lot of opportunities for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When was the last time you had a Pepsi?
More than 6 years. More than 6 years. I've heard the term. Never really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. Yeah. No, my family was always pretty. My family's always pretty Coca-Cola.
Yeah, us too. It's
focused,
it's kind of a thing, at least in this area. Like, I mean, there are the drinks out there other than the occasional, Mountain Dew.
I won't hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I'm just telling you, it's Coke heavy. It's Coke heavy. I'm complimenting you, Joe.
Okay.
I know how you guys are. I know you're brand centric.
Very, very loyal. Very loyal.
Yes. So let's talk about that. Can we talk about that?
Whatever you want to talk about.
All right, let's do it.
It's on the table.
All right.
So, on the table.
So I learned this the first time that I did business with Coca-Cola, which is many years ago now, but I came to the office. Let's actually run this through a scenario. This is exactly what happened. So
imagine the situation.
Imagine the situation. So I came to the office.
Set the scene for me. Set the scene.
Yeah, I came to the office. This is a true story, and you're going to be able to finish it because I know you guys have a protocol. I can't remember what I was drinking. Let's just call it.
Did you come in with a bottle of something?
Let's say I came in with. A Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I was drinking a Mountain Dew. What's the first thing you're going to say to me, Joe Vizcarra?
Can I refresh your drink for you? Every time.
Every time.
Every time. Can I get you a fresh drink?
Yes.
And I will take whatever brand you happen to find wherever you were, unfortunately at the time, and I will give you one option of any of our delicious beverages. Yes, our assortment of beverages, and we have everything in the office that you could think of, and yeah. So I'm happy to do it.
So the first time I didn't know this existed, which is obvious. It just makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because you do have to be loyal to the brand that it not only takes care of you, but takes care of so many other people. And that's why I tell people at Design Steins too. Mm-hmm. I was like, all our crew knows is like, look, you have, freedom of choice, but also understand, there's a brand loyalty that we have to. That's how we operate.
What's in the corner of your office over there? Do you still have that nice little
Coca-Cola? Yeah, I do. I have, thanks to the good people at Coca-Cola and Ozarks.
Yeah.
We do have a nice, it's really nice, I won't say freezer, but, refrigerator. Keeps it super cold.
Yeah.
Filled with 20-ounce Coca-Cola products.
Yeah.
Right, dead center.
Perfect temperature.
Perfect temperature. That's it. That is. And our office enjoys it. We plow through Coca-Cola. It's like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. You work those folks hard. They need it. Yeah, they need it. Uplift, we call it.
Yeah. That's it. We uplift them. And so, I had heard a story. This was years and years ago. But there was a guy and it was actually from the Pepsi side, and it was a guy that I worked with. And I said something to him along the lines of, we were working, I was in banking. So for those that don't know, I spent about 8 years in banking, right? And this was the start of my career, and I was a teller, a full-time teller. And I was working in one of the Harps locations at the time when Simmons Bank was in one of the Harps. And I was fixing to go grab a drink, and there was just, being lazy, there's the first thing that's right there. And Coca-Cola had a display front and center. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Coca-Cola, but you like Coca-Cola, and then the drink thing's right there.
Yeah.
It's just an easy choice. and so I said, hey, man, you want a Coca-Cola? I can't do that. And I was like, why not? He goes, I can't drink Coca-Cola products. I was like, why not? And he goes, my dad works for Pepsi. I was like, dude, ain't nobody from Pepsi got cameras on you. He was like,
yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I said, are you serious, man? And he was like, yes, I'm dead serious. And he, just right on. And I said, and then he proceeds to tell me a story about how they was having a party, and there was a high-up guy at Coca-Cola, and which leads me to believe that maybe somebody planted this on this poor fella. But there was a party going on at his house, and his boss walked to the refrigerator and decided to examine what was in the refrigerator, and there was a Coca-Cola product. And that guy was, well, let's just say his services were no longer needed.
Really?
Yeah, over that. And I was like, wow, really that deep? He goes, yeah. And then leading me to start asking questions. And so what was funny, the first visit to y'all's office when it's like, can I refresh your drink? And I'm thinking, this is I was like, absolutely.
Yes.
So
we take it seriously. It's our business. We want to make sure that people understand their preferences, and most people prefer Coca-Cola products. So we got to make sure we're where you're at.
You guys honestly, I can't remember the exact statistics, but again, this is another Joe Storley rambling this stuff off. He talks in his sleep. Joe wakes up, Coca-Cola. Yeah. But you guys own a lot of the market share. How much market share does Coca-Cola actually own? It's a lot.
Yeah, it depends on if you're talking retail or a quick service restaurant or bottles and cans, right? And then is it water? Are you talking? So it varies. I would believe. I think you can go look at any Nielsen data, and for the majority, Coke is the market leader.
The one
share leader,
like whatever report I looked at is like a collective. It seemed like it was like 90% or something as far as like if you
in certain categories, I think it can be certain categories. I think for the most part, Coke brands and Coke products are share leaders wherever you look. So it's always easier to find a Coke or a Coke brand than other products.
I want to ask two more questions because we're running out of time, Joe.
All right.
But I hope you come on again. Will you come on again?
Let's see what your last two questions are. That'll answer that question.
All right, perfect. Okay, so what is your favorite part of marketing Coca-Cola? Being a part of that organization, and you guys do a lot of fun things. What's your jam on that?
Favorite part? I'm going to have to say just the variety of products that we have, and every brand has its own essence, right? Its own consumer base, its own ethos of what it stands for. So you could be working on something with Dasani, just around pure, refreshment and hydration one day, and then talking about a fun, Coca-Cola flavor innovation that we're doing the next day. So that's my favorite part, is not working on the same exact thing every single day, that you really get it varied up.
And you have a lot of brands.
And we have a ton of brands. We have a lot of great folks that we work with, cross-functionals, whether it's sales or brand managers in Atlanta. Our CMO is very passionate around making sure that we bring back marketing to marketing. He has a good example. Back in, I want to say, the 60s or 70s, we sent a Coke up in one of the space flights.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I actually know about that. That's awesome.
And he said, no one asked us to do that. All right? There was no budget to go do it. We just did it because we thought, wouldn't that be cool if, right? We could go do that. And then he comes back to reality, says, imagine trying to do that today. The briefs, I love the stories. Like the briefs you would have to write.
Oh yeah.
The legal meetings you would have to do. The government conversations with NASA. He's like, we would never be able to do it today. We need to get back to that space, right? Or that place of just bringing the marketing back to Coca-Cola.
It's fun and enjoyable and relatable to everyone.
Yeah,
like that's
the Hilltop ad, right? That ran back in the late '60s, I think, and that's probably what I like to say. You can think about, I'm going to do this with Dasani one day, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing something fun with Fanta, and coming up with some really cool ideas to talk about the brand and engage with shoppers and consumers. Yeah,
so young Joe and older Joe still has a passion for the
marketing. Absolutely, yes. Awesome. I still think I'm probably more creative than I am. People put me in my place and say that's not gonna fly. But they said, what we could do is this, right? And again, as long as I lit the match, I'm good, right? And let's get people to go thinking how to get it done in the realities of the world, and that's the space I like to live.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Last question of the day.
Here we go.
What gives Joe joy?
Joy. And it's not going to be one of our beverages. Is that what you're saying?
No, it can be anything.
Yeah,
What gives you joy in life, Joe?
It has to be my kids, my family, right? Just spending time and breaking away and managing the work-life balance and seeing my kids grow up and get older and experience things, and hopefully, like as you're a dad, you hope your kids are better than you at anything they do, right? And that's what I just want to see them continue to be happy in what they do, enjoy, be healthy. For sure, that's just the most important thing to me. Far more than career, far more than advancing professional, opportunities. Is just you want your family to be happy and healthy, and seeing that just gives me joy. Now, it doesn't always happen, right? That's a challenge. Just being a parent and a husband and all that kind of stuff. But I love it. Just spending time with the family.
That's great. That's fantastic, and that's fantastic to end on.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate the time. I hope you'll come again.
Yeah, I think those questions are okay. I think I would consider coming back.
I'll have my
if you have the right beverages this time. I think we'll have it ready to go.
Okay, we'll make sure that we are beverage compliant each and every time.
Every time I'll send you my rider so you know everything I made. Yes.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks, man.
All right, Matt. Thank you very much. All right.
Thanks.